The New York Mets are in serious danger of losing a star pitcher on their team, and this has fans absolutely terrified, as a new report has revealed that multiple big-name teams willing to spend a lot of money in free agency will be targeting one of the best and most important players for the Mets, who has been a staple of this team over the last couple of seasons, and we are going to go over all of that, guys. But before we do that, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss a single New York Mets update. We got a lot of great videos coming out every single day that you don't want to miss out on, especially over the free agency period, so you don't miss any New York Mets updates. We will have every single update to do with the Mets in free agency posted on here very quickly and up to date. So make sure you're subscribed, and let's jump into the video. There is a lot to go over on the Mets right now, as the Mets, they are in serious danger of losing one of their star pitchers in Edwin Diaz. There has been a lot of discussion surrounding Diaz's free agency and the fact that he does like the idea of returning to the Mets. However, it's not a guarantee. It's far from a guarantee that Diaz does return to New York. And with one more chance to get a really good contract, and after having a phenomenal year, Díaz is expected to be the highest paid relief pitcher this offseason by a sizable margin, and it is going to be a real market for him. There's going to be a market for him with a bunch of high-spending teams. That is what we've heard so far, and jumping right into the first report on this, it was mentioned by Ken Rosenthal that the Mets re-signing Edwin Diaz very well could be the outcome if the Toronto Blue Jays or some other club makes him a massive offer and Cohen tops it in the end. But speaking to reporters at the MLB Awards in Las Vegas, where he won the Trevor Hoffman Award for National League Reliever of the Year, Diaz said his chances of returning to the Mets were 50-50. That's not ideal. I'd rather it not be 50-50, a literal coin toss, and if Diaz is going to return. For a while, it felt like Diaz wouldn't be leaving the Mets. Like, at the end of the day, despite the fact that other teams are going to be willing to pay Diaz a good amount of money, so are the Mets. They have Steve Cohen. Steve Cohen's willing to spend a lot of money. David Stearns understands that Edwin Diaz is hard to impossible to replace right now as a true closer for this team. He was the best relief pitcher in baseball last year, not just the National League. And it is very, very imperative that the New York Mets keep Diaz around. He's just that important to this team. He was the entire bullpen for the Mets last year. Nobody else in the bullpen was really performing up to snuff. There was a bunch of injuries, trades that didn't work out, specifically the Helsley trade. But in general, Edwin Diaz was the one guy who we could trust to really go out there and absolutely deal. Well, we did not get to see a lot of that go down. Diaz, well, he was great with the Mets, but he didn't get a bunch of opportunities to close games because the Mets weren't winning enough games for Diaz to close. In 62 appearances, he had 28 saves. Won 28 for 31 on-save appearances, had 98 strikeouts in 66.1 innings pitched, and a whip of 0.874, meaning he would allow less than one guy on base per inning. Edwin Diaz is absolutely that guy. He's in the prime of his career, but he wants a big-time contract, so by the end of that, he's still going to be getting paid high, even if he's not his same self. Now, we've seen Aroldis Chapman continue to pitch absolutely phenomenal baseball into his late 30s, so it's not like it's a guarantee that Diaz is going to fall off. In fact, the opposite. The chance is that Diaz gets some 6-year contract or a 5-year contract. I would not be shocked at a 5-year, $102 million deal up to $110 million for Diaz. And it wouldn't be shocking if at age 36, when he's in the final year of that contract, he's still playing good baseball and isn't going anywhere, except probably getting paid less money on shorter-term years because obviously the fall-off could be imminent, especially for a guy who throws the ball very, very hard, casually breaking over 100 miles per hour regularly on that fastball. So when we consider everything about Diaz, it really does feel like if the Mets don't re-sign him, this is a massive misstep for the team. And there is more updates to talk about this as well. It was mentioned by Ken Rosenthal that Diaz, who turns 32 in March, wants the same kind of deal he signed with the Mets in November of 2022. According to a person briefed on his wishes, 5 years, $102 million. He opted out of the final 2 years and $38 million of that deal and is certain to turn down the Mets' 1-year, $22 million qualifying offer as well. Now, as Rosenthal mentioned, a team that comes hard at Diaz could very well come away with him. He wants to win. The Mets, for all their spending, do not win consistently. In Diaz's 7 seasons with the Mets, including the 2023 campaign he missed with a ruptured patellar tendon, the deepest he has gone into a postseason was the 2024 National League Championship Series. His first 3 seasons before getting traded to the Mets were with the Seattle Mariners, who did not make the playoffs during his tenure. The Blue Jays, according to people briefed on their activity, met with Diaz's agents from Wasserman at the general manager's meetings. That's not necessarily a major development this early in the offseason. teams express interest in pretty much every quality player. Toronto, though, is targeting high leverage relief as well as a starting pitcher, so they do want a whole lot right now in regards to pitching, and Diaz is the best reliever on the market and probably just inning for inning the best pitcher. And on top of that, and as Rosenthal continued to mention, it's signaling a willingness to spend both big and lose draft picks if necessary. The Jays are open to sliding Hoffman to the 8th inning, and Hoffman almost certainly would accept a move to the team if they acquired a much more accomplished closer. So with that in mind, obviously there is a lot to consider. I mean, Jeff Hoffman was not a very good closer for the Blue Jays, had an ERA of 4.37. He did pick up 33 saves as he was their most regular closer, but Hoffman was not exactly an excellent closer. I mean, he's a fine bullpen arm, but he's not a closer at all. And because of that, it does sort of make you understand why the Jays would be willing to spending money on Edwin Diaz. I mean, the team came as close as a team ever could possibly come to winning the World Series when losing the World Series. I mean, they were, not even kidding, 2 inches away from winning the World Series. They were right there. They were so close. So with that in mind, they are going to be spending with a vengeance. They want Kyle Tucker. They want Edwin Diaz. They want a top-tier starting pitcher in free agency. I know there's not a ton of them, and would be looking at guys like Framber Valdez or Dylan Cease or Michael King, which is not a number one arm, which the Mets definitely do need, as well as, I mean, the Blue Jays, they do have Kevin Gausman, who's a good number one arm, but they do want to add some more depth as well. So there's going to be a market for a lot of these pitchers, and Edwin Diaz is going to be at the top for any team that wants bullpen help. And Jeff Passan even talked about this as well in regards to the Dodgers, who said the Dodgers are not inclined to go 10 plus years on Kyle Tucker. They don't need Kyle Schwarber in their, and they're starting pitching with the return of 7 pitchers who contributed in 2025, along with River Ryan and Gavin Stone coming back from major surgeries, is a strength. While they have plenty of room to maneuver for a trade, the most obvious move here is to hope the second time's the charm in spending big money on a closer after Tanner Scott's disappearing act this year. Sign free agent closer Edwin Diaz is the perfect move for the Dodgers. And not just the Dodgers, another powerhouse who has interest is the New York Yankees. The Mets' crosstown rivals, the New York Yankees, are another club with potential interest. The Yankees, too, have other priorities, a starting pitcher and at least one outfielder. While they are set with David Bednar as their closer, they also face the losses of 2 high leverage relievers in Devin Williams and Luke Weaver, and Diaz is proven in New York. There's going to be a lot of people going at Diaz, so this is very important. The Mets do have to get into the bidding war and try to get this done early. I sincerely hope the Mets try to get this done early, because the earlier they get this done, the easier it's going to be. If Diaz holds out for a bit and watches for contracts, which would not be surprising whatsoever, the Dodgers, the Yankees, the Blue Jays, 3 teams that love to spend money like the Mets will be going very hard after Edwin Diaz. Multiple other teams will show interest as well. The San Francisco Giants will likely show interest, as they've shown a willingness to spend money and want to find money to spend. I mean, giving Willie Adams that contract, taking on Rafael Devers' deal to get a slugger on their team. Like, it does make sense what they're trying to do right now. And for the Mets, they're going to have to really be in a fight with people, but Steve Cohen is going to be willing to spend money. That's the hope, that he just decides, you know what, I'll overpay for Edwin Diaz. We can't lose him, because the Mets can't lose him. Without him, their bullpen is going to be absolutely flat out awful. Fans have also discussed this whole situation as well. As we see here, just saying that David Stearns won't get it done, and fans will brag about signing Pete Fairbanks. Diaz would be impossible to replace. He's the most important free agent that we have, which I 100% agree with. Stearns is going to destroy this team. Cohen needs to get involved. Don't trust Stearns, get it done. Bidding war for Diaz and Alonso. I'll tell you right now, if I had to bet on who the Mets care about re-signing more, I would guess it's Edwin Diaz. I don't really see Diaz going anywhere. From everything, it seems like Edwin Diaz wants to be a New York Met, and as long as that's the case, the Mets should be all good to go. What do you think? Let me know in the comments down below. Like this video, subscribe, turn on post notifications. Have a great day. I'll catch you later.